I didn't intend to make a masterpiece. I didn't intend to make this car the way it is. It unfolded that way. Lowriding, it really intrigued me at a young age. My dad owned a LTD on some true classics, and so I was in a lowrider as a child, but it didn't really hit until my cousin bought the car, and he put some different spoke wheels with a stereo system, and he was I remember so clearly, he was pulling out of the driveway listening to an oldie song, and it was just like, wow, it was like, I want one of those. And it was just like, from that point on, I knew what I wanted. So as a kid, I always purchased lowrider magazines. And lowrider magazine, there's so much to the magazine because it's not just the photos. Each individual that have these cars, they have a story. It's under the picture, and I would read all these stories. On the back of the book, it would have people that send in comments, like in today's age, we have social media. That was our social media back then. We want to be on lowrider magazine. That's the goal.
One more chance for you to do right.
So the first car that I had was a Cutlass Oldsmobile, and it belonged to my parents. They purchased that back in '88, and it was a 1983 Cutlass Oldsmobile. They blessed me with that car, and so that's where it started. That's where what I really wanted, and that's what I ended up getting. And I ended up getting an opportunity to buy a set of wheels. Man, once I put those wheels on, it took it to another level. There's different levels in the game, and for me to have wheels on that car was like, it was exciting. Only thing I had was a system and some wheels. That's where I was at on my first car. But I really wanted a Monte Carlo. That was something that in the future, I said that one day I'm gonna have a Monte Carlo, because I really believe that a 1978 it really made a nice year. And not only did I like the body line, but I was born in 1978.
Just try, Daddy, and you lose a good thing. Just try, Daddy, and you lose a good thing.
So when I finally purchased the car, I bought it with a nice paint job. It had interior, and it had some 14-inch wire wheels. First thing I did is I took the wire wheels off, and I put some 13s. I put a stereo system in it, and I got to enjoy it. So in that case, it was bought, done. It was a cruiser. So then what I ended up doing is I ended up putting a sunroof on it. And then once I put the sunroof on it, it chipped the paint. It didn't get painted the color that it was supposed to. The sample was right on point, but when the picture was done of the car painted, it was another color, and it wasn't the color that was in my vision. Now we go ahead and we paint the car over, and then I decide, before we clear it, I want to put some murals. So then we go ahead and we set that up. I got a really good artist. He was able to put his talent into the car, and then soon right after that, we had a windstorm. It made the canopy fly over the fence, and it scratched the whole side of the car on the murals. Oh man, did that hurt. Luckily I was able to schedule this gentleman back, and he was able to fix that. So that's part of the mishaps. It was part of the pain process. I was born in East LA, and East LA is in this car. We got family. I got pictures of my kids in this car. I got a picture of their mama in this car. I got a picture of my mama in this car, my daddy in this car. I have the iconic 6th Street Bridge in the car. I got King Taco. Some of you may have seen the movie Born in East LA. I got Cheech Marin in the car. We got downtown buildings. You got the little shoes hanging from the power lines. You'll see people walking on the bridge. The detail is just prestige. And on top of that, there's a rapper that really, just her attitude and her spunk and who she is, it just, I'm a big fan of hers. She's dope. I got Cardi B on that car. Man, she's dope. Huh? She's dope.
It's a thin line between love and hate.
Growing up, I hung around with the wrong crowd per se. I was the type of person that, I like to get into trouble. I looked for trouble. I made a lot of mistakes in my life growing up. I ended up going to jail, and I ended up being in places and predicaments that I shouldn't have been in. As I started to get older, I got a job, and I knew that I wanted a lowrider. Once I started working, I started to save my money, and I tried to pursue what I wanted. In that sense, it allowed me to focus on working and making money rather than being out in the streets. It really gave me a drive to want more things out of life. It actually sets you up. Now I work and I strive to provide for my family.
Let me hang up your coat. The woman tell me, pass me your hat.
I hadn't had a name for the car, the whole time that I was building it. And then one day it just popped in my head, like, with all the pain and that went into this car and wanting to throw in the towel, I said, why not name it Game Over? It really was a perfect name for the car, and this brings me back to my my past, because I lived a rough life, and at one time I didn't think that I was gonna continue living, and I put Game Over on my eyelids. And I look at this car like my life, because I had to get stripped down of my pride, my character, the old person, the old image of who I was, and all the rough edges had to be sanded down. And this car had to be repainted, my life had to be repainted, and it's just like, it relates. It's part of my story. It's a part of who I am, and I really believe that lowriding has saved my life.
Hospital, bandage from feet to head.
Lowrider, this is us.
Just that much from being dead.